In this episode of DIY Man, I'm building this cool little sanding block, and this little guy has a surprise inside. And this is a handy design because it takes a half sheet of sandpaper. Stick around and you'll see how easy it is to build. The first step on today's project is going to be to take some 3/4 inch plywood and cut two pieces to 5.5 inches long and 3 1/8 of an inch wide. If you don't have any 3/4 inch plywood laying around, you can also use scrap 1x4s for this. Next, let's head over to the table saw and set the blade 1/4 inch from the fence. Then we'll set the blade at a 35-degree angle and raise it up to 3/8 of an inch high. Once we have that set, let's go ahead and run both pieces through on the long side on their edge. And this is kind of what we're looking for right here. Nothing cosmic, right? Now let's head over to the router table. And now I'll just use a 1/4 inch roundover to round off some of these edges on these boards. And if you don't have a router table, you can just use a sander to round these corners as well. Let's take a close-up look at these pieces real quick. As you can see on this board, I rounded 3 of the 4 edges. Now I didn't round this corner over here, I didn't really see a point. Then over here on this one, I rounded 2 of the 4 edges. And this is going to leave one sharp edge so I can sand inside corners. Just for fun, let's sand these pieces down just a little bit. For this next part, let's go ahead and pull out our cabinet door installation kit. These are about $15 at Home Depot. And all this is a large Forstner bit and a little jig to make sure you put the hole in the right spot. And if you decide to buy one of these, it's good to practice with these anyways before you start drilling holes in your cabinet doors that you spend a lot of time on. Let's use this jig right in the center of one of these boards. One little trick I've learned with using this little jig is that you should always pre-drill these holes before you use the Forstner bit. And when you do it, make sure you use a drill bit that just barely fits inside those holes. And that's going to help you to make sure that hole's exactly where it needs to be. Then we'll come in here with this big Forstner bit. When I first started using these type of hinges, I couldn't figure out how deep to go with the Forstner bit. I'm not sure if all these bits are the same, but I've always gone to this silver edge on the ones that I've had. And that seems to work out perfectly for me. Now make sure you drill the hole on the correct side. It's going to be on the opposite side of that notch we cut out earlier. Next, let's pull out our hinge. This little guy is a 1 3/8 inch overlay, and it's a European style hinge. These are like $6 at Lowe's, maybe cheaper on Amazon. I'll see if I can find a link for you. And we'll just attach it with the screws provided. Now let's take a quick measurement. Notice that this side of the hinge is 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the board. Let's go ahead and attach this side of the hinge on that other board 3/4 of an inch from the edge. Our sanding block is complete, and now for the moment we've all been waiting for, installing the sandpaper. Now when you install that very first piece of sandpaper, you might notice that this thing needs just a tiny bit of adjustment. If it's too tight to close, you can sand down the edges of your block in order to get the perfect fit. But once everything's perfectly set, you should have a pretty tight fit. And now this thing's ready for a sanding party. And as you can see, it's perfect for all kinds of different woodworking projects. And now those tight corners are no match for this guy. Now, I know someone in the comments is going to say, you just wasted a bunch of time and money by building this little project, and I don't see it that way. Here's why. You can't get the job without the experience, and you can't get the experience without the job. So little projects like this is how you get experience. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, you're going to like this one right here. I'll see you over there, and keep hitting that I believe button.
Subscribe.